When Arthur got back to the classroom, his friends rushed to his side. "You survived," said Buster, with no obvious sign of torture, Binky added. He looked a little disappointed. "What happened?" asked Francine. Arthur led out aside. "Mr. Haney gave me this." He held up a large brown envelope. "He said it was for my mom." "That's it?" asked Murphy. She reached out for a closer look. "What does it say? Is it sealed?" Francine grabbed the envelope. "It's sealed all right." He held it up to the light. "And too thick to read through." "Give it a shake," said Buster, cocking his ears. Francine shook the envelope for a moment. It rustled softly. "That doesn't tell us much," she said. Binky folded his arms. "Let's just open it." "I can't," said Arthur. "It's addressed to my mother, and look what's stamped on it. Private and confidential." "That's a bad sign," said Buster. "Good news is never private." "Besides," said Binky, "you can't start making excuses till you know what kind of trouble you're in." "Didn't Mr. Haney give you any clues at all?" Francine asked. He said it was important," said Arthur, taking back the envelope. "That was about it. If it was good news," said Murphy, "Mr. Haney would have told you. My mother always tells me right away if we've got a new limousine or the cookies making a special dessert for dinner." "He didn't say anything like that," Arthur admitted. "That means it's bad news," said Francine. "The question is, how bad is it?" "How bad is it?" That's why This was not a question Arthur wanted to think about. Binky laughed. "Oh, I bet you lost a library book." "I don't think Mr. Haney gets involved with already library books," said Arthur. "Besides, I just returned all mine." "Oh no," said Francine. "What?" said Murphy. "Tell us," said Buster. "Tell me," said Arthur. "Never mind," said Francine. "It's too terrible to think about." Arthur turned pale. "That's why you have to tell me." "All right," said Francine. "But you forced me into it." She shuddered. "What if you didn't pass Mr. Redburn's history test?" Arthur frowned. The big test had been the week before. It had been the hard one. "Remember, Arthur, you told me afterward that you were how the Pilgrims came to America in 1620? Francine, the Pilgrim did came to America in 1620. She looked surprised. "Really?" Everyone else nodded. "Well, still," Francine tapped the envelope. "The proof is right here. And if you failed that test, you may fail the whole year. You know what that means? Summer school." Arthur sat down in his chair and thought about his fate. Summer school, perhaps the two most dreaded words in the English language. He saw himself chained to the wall of a dark dungeon. Outside the barred window, he could hear his friends. He could hear his friends playing. He looked out through the bars. Buster and the Brain were setting up a tent for camping. Murphy and Prunella were rollerblading. Arthur looked around his cell. He was alone with only some thick, dusty books for company. Then the guard, Mr. Raybons, worked in. He was slipping ice cream for a cone. A few drops fell on the stone, just beyond Arthur reached. Step out, set out, Step out of it, Arthur, and said Buster. Arthur looked at his friend blankly. You know what they say, Buster went on. Those who don't learn their history are doomed to repeat it. Arthur sighed. History or not, he felt doomed for sure.